Is money important to you?
Money hasn't been important to me since I had 80 grand in the bank. That's enough for me to turn my life around.
You said you made money in crypto, but you also lost it all.
I lost a ton of money in crypto. People are in such automation that if they do not follow the programming or the book, their minds break. I know that sounds insane when the world's collapsing.
Yeah.
What can we do about it? What are you going to do? Complain on Twitter about the Federal Reserve? Just wait till the first church of AI comes out where they worship the machine. Mark my words. Play this back in 20 years when it's here.
Luke was right. Yo, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode on the VIBEZ show. So today, this man needs no introduction. We're gonna get straight into it, guys. Welcome, Luke Belmar.
Welcome, brother.
How
Welcome you, not me. You're in Miami, brother.
I'm in
Welcome.
Miami. This is my first podcast
How are you
out
liking
of Dubai.
it? How you liking Miami?
It's a crazy city, and I think
What's your first take?
First impressions, it's all about who you know, guys. Meeting Luke Belmar here, it's like you're with the mafia.
Nah, bro, that's not me, bro. That's
Guys,
not
first
me.
thing you know,
you were
like-
rolling around with cops and everything, right?
Yeah.
Like, what is it? Policing you around?
We had police
Fire.
escorts, Bugatti Chirons. It's been a crazy trip, but we're here and we're with the man himself. So for those of you that don't know, Luke Belmar, he is a man that changes the path of life. Can I say that?
You can say whatever you
He
want.
breaks the matrix. He's a Freemason. But no, he's honestly, I want to give you guys a little backstory of Luke Belmar. Started from nothing, made millions of dollars, and is someone who genuinely seeks the best version of themselves in life.
So first of all, not Freemason at all, but came from Argentina.
Yeah.
At the age of 16, I grew up in Argentina, third world country. If you look at what Argentina is today, highest inflated currency in the world, completely destroyed by socialism and corruption. So my parents, my family, kind of having an understanding of what was going to be taking place in the southern hemisphere, decided that it was going to be a good move to, attempt the American dream. So at the age of 16, with $200 in a suitcase, came to the United States, started pressure washing basketball courts. That was my first job. And then eventually through the years, got into different jobs, was exposed to e-commerce, was exposed to the internet, was exposed to making money online. And I capitalized on the opportunity. It's very straightforward. You know, a lot of people have been able to experience the internet, but only a handful of people have utilized the internet to actually make money. For example, yourself, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people watch YouTube, but then there's other people who actually go out and do it. So got into the internet game, got into e-commerce, got into cryptocurrency in 2016. And as cliche as it may be, I actually was able to buy a Bitcoin when it was worth a couple $100, right? And then 2017, I f***ed up. You know, I did really well in the crypto bull run. I did 160x on my portfolio, but then I lost it all. And I was like, oh, dang, how do I make sure that this doesn't happen again? And I understood that there was market cycles and that there were cycles and ebbs and flow of money supply and things of this nature. So I said, you know what, let me go back to e-commerce, make money, because it was something that I had mastered.
Yeah.
And then 2020 rolled over all my profits into crypto, different technological pioneering kind of niches, such as DeFi and things of this nature that took off and did really well. And here we are today.
So when you
Pretty
came to the United States, you came alone, or?
Yeah, completely alone.
So your family just sent you here? You're 16.
16, brother. My family didn't send me. You know, I graduated from high school, and at that point I had a decision. Am I going to continue a university career path in Argentina, work for $2,000, $500, $1,000 a month, or am I going to try and figure out a better situation, a better place to be? And obviously America offers a ton of great opportunities, and it worked out.
But like when you came here, obviously, like was it not tough? Like what did you do? You came with $200.
Brother, when what do you have to lose? $200? There's nothing to lose, but when you're at the bottom. What do you mean, brother? To $200, think about it. What does living with a family member or friend cost? Free. You get a regular job doing anything. You make $1,000 a month. As a 16, 17, 18-year-old, you can self-sustain your lifestyle with $800 a month. You can eat healthy, organic, natural, $500 a month. Pay for your public transport, pay for your essentials, your utilities, your amenities with another couple $100. And what I came to realize is I was so obsessed with making money that I wasn't figuring out how am I going to spend the little bit of money that I have. I was figuring out as soon as I make this money, how can I deploy it to multiply? I remember I was waiting tables you know? And
Yeah.
in the United States, and I don't know how it works nowadays, but back in the day, you would basically get cash tips and you would take those tips and they would belong to you, right? So what I would do is I would take that cash the same day, I would deposit it in the ATM machine, Wells Fargo, instant deposit would show up in my bank account. I would go home and 50% of whatever I made for tips, 50% was going to be my ad spend for my Facebook ads that same day. And half of it would go to an exchange called Bitstamp, which is where I would buy my Bitcoin and my XRP and my Litecoin and things of this nature. So the same day that I made the money, I already knew why I was going into work. I was going into work to get my fuel for my Facebook ads that I had to pay for that night because I didn't have a credit card.
Yeah.
I had my debit card. So whatever I made, right, I pulled it with my brothers and we would come together and just, that's how it worked.
Oh, you have brothers?
Make money. Yeah, I have an older brother at Mr. Belmar, biohacking wizard, built e-commerce businesses with him. Have a younger brother as well, did e-commerce with him. We kind of keep it in the family unit.
So is that something you learned from them, or like
We kind of work? We work together. I mean, when you grow up with people on a regular basis, a lot of the information that you receive is similar. So we devised a plan where we understood that when you are more, especially when you work in a unit dynamic, you have more firepower. The reason I came to this conclusion was if you look at the school system, right, and you're in the school system and you have a problem or an exam or a test, how do they tell you that you need to solve this problem? By yourself. Go lock yourself in your room, figure this out. If you use your friends or if somebody tells you the answer, it's what? Cheating. But in the real world, if somebody gives you an advantage or tells you how to win, you call it a hack. You call it an insider piece of information. You call it a cheat code.
Yeah.
You don't call it out here scamming or losing or doing these things. But in the school system, they teach you that collaboration is bad. So I was like, let me just collaborate with the people that I can already trust, which is the foundation for business. You need people that you can trust and learn skill sets that we can utilize together and make money. And that just happened to be e-commerce initially because the barrier to entry was super low and the risk to reward ratio was extremely high. Instead of going and getting a regular job, let me just utilize those same amount of hours and figure it out.
Yeah.
And yeah, of course, the first couple months, 6 months, 7 months, you don't figure it out, but eventually you start piecing things together. And what I came to realize, brother, is you probably saw it as well doing YouTube, is a lot of people never evolve their strategies or never think if there's a barrier or something in the way, how to overcome it. It's always like, let me try and do the same thing, not trying to figure out how I can go around it. So you mess up with e-commerce, you fail, you lose money. Instead of giving up and being like, oh, this doesn't work. No, maybe I don't work. Maybe what I'm currently doing isn't working. Maybe I need to figure out a different strategy. And that's kind of what is good with working with other people is when you're starting from the ground up, there's a lot more firepower to figure things out and execute trial and error quicker. So yeah, that's why I like collaborating with my family, and especially family because you have trust, which is the foundation for business. You don't want to be looking over your shoulder, wondering if the person's going to be stealing from you.
Or stabbing you. What age did you get into this e-commerce? You said
17.
17.
Yeah, super fast, brother.
And at that time, your brothers were already doing it.
No, we got into it together. But 17, it wasn't like we were in here making money. 17 is we're trying to figure out how does Facebook work? We're trying to figure out what the is a supplier. Like, how do I communicate with somebody in China? We're not talking about 2023 where you can just send a message and there's all these providers of drop shipping businesses and e-commerce suppliers and warehouses in America. No, back in the day, it was Excel spreadsheets, figuring things out manually. It was extremely complicated. So it was a super big learning curve that took years, and eventually it played out, but it played out because we played the long term. It wasn't just, 2 months in, we're out here making money. No, it was a progressive realization.
How much money were you on, like, when you started? Like, obviously this...
I would say it was like $3,500 is what we had to start.
Oh, just to get into it.
Yeah, just to get into it. It was like the initial budget. You can't start with $100, dude. Like nowadays, you can't even start with $100. You need at least a couple $1,000.
Yeah, do you think people lie when they say, "Oh, $100 you can start"?
Yeah, of course it's a lie, dude. What can you start with $100? Think about it. You register a domain. You have a phone, that cell phone plan that's costing you something. You're not just not having a cell phone plan.
Yeah.
You have Wi-Fi. You're not going into fucking McDonald's to get public Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
There's all these additional costs that are incurred that people don't take into account because they're just regular expenditures of life. But you need $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $10,000 in order to allow you to create a business plan that sustains you for more than just 60 days, right? So yeah, you could start a business in the e-commerce space for $3,000, $4,000, $5,000.
So did you finish school, by the way? Because you're saying you...
High school, yeah. But I had bro, I failed every single fucking class, bro. I hated that shit. It was so bad.
But when did you start realizing? Because first of all, I'll say, what's your opinion on the schooling system right now?
I mean, brother, you just have to look at the outcome. Like what is the type of product that's coming out of the school system, right? What is the outcome of this machine that's coming out? Dumb f***s. That's what's coming out. So you need to look at the input of information that people are receiving, and it's not quality information. It's information that's designed to keep people employed, keep people weak, keep people stupid. That's why when you start school, what does your first grade teacher ask you? What is your dream job? Not what is your dream? Not what do you want to do in life? What do you want to achieve in life? What countries do you want to visit? No. What is your dream job?
Yeah, I never thought about that.
What type of cog are you going to be in the fucking machine when you grow up? From day one, you're being programmed to be a bot.
Damn, I never thought about it like that. You're right.
But people don't think about it. That's the thing, is they just take, oh, well, what's your dream job? Well, I'm going to be an astronaut.
Yeah, that's like the typical thing, right? I want to be a scientist.
Bro, come on.
Damn, but what age did you start realizing that? Was there like
From the beginning, dude. I saw my teacher driving with a shitty car, overweight, and I'm like, these are the people that I'm receiving my source of like information from. It doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. All these rich people out here, what do they know?
Yeah.
Like, what do they know? Or how are these guys printing money out of thin air? And all these people that I know that are telling me that they know how life works are slaving away trying to figure out how to get by.
Yeah.
What is the disconnect? And that's the disconnect that I had to come to realize. And none of it is taught in the school system. It's left outside of it intentionally. Why? Because the less you know, well, the less you know. So you need information in order to combat ignorance. And the problem is people cannot combat ignorance because they are ignorant. So how do you get educated? You need to study what rich people and successful people study. They don't study what you study. They're not out here studying the history of civil war and who did this and who did that. No, they're studying what is applicable and evergreen. For example, finances, arithmetic, logic, grammar, persuasion, leadership, right? These are essential skills. How to dialogue with another person, how to sell your product, things that people aren't taught. Those skill sets are what people that understand how the game is played are learning.
Yeah.
So once you understand that, for example, an essentials class that they teach at these elite schools is logic. They teach you how to think. Tell me,
what schools are there? Like, what are these schools?
Tell me a class that teaches you how to think in school, that it tells you, hey, this is the thinking methodology that we're going to utilize.
Yeah, there's none.
They don't even teach you how to study.
Yeah.
What is to study?
Read memorize a book, yeah.
And that's all people do. People go to a stoplight. I'll give you another example. This is how automated people are, because that's what they teach people to be, is automated. Today, the stoplight was broken, and it was just frozen in red for like 5 minutes. Every other stoplight on the four-way street was going. There's 2-3 cars in front of me, and they wouldn't move.
Yeah.
If the light did not turn green, even if the other places were stopped for 5-10 minutes, they wouldn't move. I had to get out of the car and knock on the window and be like, guys, you can go. The light is broken. So people are in such automation that if they do not follow the programming or the book, their minds break because they don't think, right? So that's what the school system says.
They're a slave to their own mind.
Do this or you're a failure. Do it this way or you're a failure. So people fear leaving the box. People fear being outside of the status quo or outside of what's comfortable, outside of what's normal. And it manifests in every area of life in a very simple way. Like people standing and waiting for the fucking light for 5 to 10 minutes because the light doesn't change colors. Think about how stupid you have to be, dude. Think about how stupid you have to be to stand in line for 4 hours voting as if your vote matters, being an autopilot because the news told you, and then you wear a sticker that says, I voted. In what world? In a world of robots and automation and systemization, which I understand. If you want to work in society, you need that. But I said it to you before dinner. I was like, brother, the world is run by businesses. The world is not run by governments. It's very interesting because Coca-Cola, I told you, Coca-Cola is out here placing presidents and seating presidents in different places around the world. I'll give you an example. The former richest guy in the world was a Mexican billionaire. he used to run the country. And he used to be an executive for Coca-Cola. The reason why Coca-Cola is now one of the leading products in Mexico is because of the lobbying that Coca-Cola did through their politics and presidential candidates.
Oh, what's that?
Place the president that used to be a former executive of Coca-Cola is now the president, was former president of Mexico. So now you have somebody that's intertwined with big business in politics, dictating which consumer products go on the shelves.
And he puts Coke
and
everywhere.
which consumer product, exactly. Of course, why wouldn't you?
Damn.
Why do you think all the executives of the FDA, once they retire from the FDA, or people that work at the SEC, or that they work for the government, when they retire, or the military, they go and work for private industry? Because private industry lobbies them and says, hey, when you get done from working in public office, if you pass these 3 laws, you'll have a $2 million a year salary waiting for you.
Yeah.
So people pander and cater to all of that. That's why things are built not by choice of the common people, but by choice of the people that utilize their brains. And Henry Ford said it best, and I'll finish with this. He said, the hardest job in the world is to think. That's why most people don't do it.
Yeah.
Most people don't think, brother.
I want to go back to the school system. Do you think that school systems have become soft nowadays? Because I heard somewhere it's like nowadays, even in school systems, if you do bad or if you fail, they kind of tell you, oh, you get an award for trying or being, attending or doing something. Do you think it's too soft?
I think it's two-sided. One, I think it's this idea of pandering to the weakest link.
Yeah.
Which society never panders to the weakest link. It always destroys the weakest link. So the weakest link, once it enters society, it becomes shocked at the fact that society does not accept it for its weakest form.
Yeah.
So on one side, you have the validation of the weakest individual. On the other side, you have this philosophy that doing something wrong or messing up is failure. What does it mean to fail? Right?
Yeah.
Implying to a 6-year-old, a 7-year-old that doesn't memorize the words that you want him to memorize or her to memorize, that they're a failure, scars the child from what? Making mistakes.
Yeah.
But life is full of making mistakes. So therefore, people do what? They stop trying out of fear of what? Making mistakes. So from the moment you're born, you're designed to not even try, because any moment you try, boom, hammer.
Yeah.
Failure. So the school system is not only from the pandering, but also from distorting what it means to experience life, which is that it's okay to mess up and that it's okay to fail and that it's okay to trip. But the school system does not allow that.
Now, do you think, because you were mentioning how there's like a lack of information and correct information, how rich people are born with better information than poor people. Do you think poor people are dumber than rich people?
They are more uneducated.
Yeah.
That's all it is. They have less access to information. Like I said before, you do not know what you do not know.
Yeah.
Like, unless you're exposed to what it means to make money online, for example.
Yeah.
Like if somebody went to your AdSense or they saw what was the potential, most people would not believe you.
Yeah.
But unless they saw it, then they would believe you. And even those that saw it, some that see it may be like, well, I can't do it.
I can't do it. It's unachievable.
It's unachievable for me, right? So you're dealing with so many preconceived notions as to how the world works and what reality is, that now you're in a situation where even if you give people the facts, they won't even see it. That's how far this indoctrination goes. And the school system has done such a good job at making people think that the only way to make money is the way that they say money's made.
Yeah.
And the problem is people buy into that. And once they retire, they realize that they were scammed because they retire and they have nothing to show for it.
That's it. They're broke. And moving on to it, we were saying like how rich people, you see like a lot of these big, like crazy rich families, they always inherit what the families had and
Correct.
build onto it. And me and Luke were just talking about this before the podcast. It's like, where less fortunate families, the father works a regular job and kind of forces the son like, oh, why are you not working? Go get a job. Instead of saying, hey, this is what we're doing and you build onto this business. You see, for example, all these rich families that have big family businesses, the sons take over that big business and they start learning and adding onto it and conquering that. But like you're saying, in like less fortunate families, the father has a job, the son has a new job. So every 20 years, they're resetting their wealth.
They're resetting their wealth. They're resetting their skill sets. They're resetting the life direction of the family. They don't work in unity. That's what I'm telling you. The school system isn't training people to work in units. Everybody's working individually, but then the people that run the game and that are writing your school curriculums, they're working in units.
Yeah.
So what they're literally telling you what not to do.
Yeah.
Right? And they're like, don't do this. It's not good for you. And that's exactly what they're doing. And then they're telling you, do this. This is good for you. And that's what they're not doing. Do you think these motherfuckers wore masks when they were flying on private jets? Brother, get woke. It wasn't working that way.
I want to move on to the government because that's a crazy thing that happened. Obviously, the past few years, you've seen people combat governments and people are, I think, getting a bit more woke. I mean, I don't know necessarily how woke, but what's your opinion on the government right now? Are we like
I have no opinion on governments because governments, like I told you, are just comprised of big business. Whoever has the dollar to pay for the seat is the one that will get it. It's worked the same way always and forever, brother. This idea of democracy is a new concept. This idea of freedom is a new concept. It didn't exist prior to America. This idea of people having natural rights to freedom of speech and things like this, it didn't exist. It's a new concept and it's going away fast. I forget who said it. It was a famous thinker. People can look it up and they can quote me. But he says, democracy is of the people and for the people.
Yeah.
But the people are stupid. So it doesn't matter how much freedom of choice you give people.
Yeah.
You begin to realize that people will always choose bad shit. That's why the people that run the game realize that they can perpetrate human rights like they did over the last couple of years and get away with it because people are so distracted that they're already focusing on what Kim Kardashian is wearing on her next photo and they don't realize that they just spent the last 3 years fucking locked up.
Damn. And I want to get onto something that you speak a lot about. It's BlackRock. Is this like the people running the world? Like
I wouldn't say that they're the people running the world, but I mean, when you control $13 trillion in assets and you have a say at the table of a lot of companies, it's pretty powerful. So when you're in a situation where, you know, you're running funds basically that represent the entirety of a nation, like BlackRock is, which all it is an investment vehicle, somebody's making those investment decisions and somebody's sitting at those tables when you own equity, right? And representing a fund like BlackRock.
Yeah.
That has a real world impact. So when you see a lot of these companies coming and working together, go and just look at the shareholders and ask yourself, if the shareholders are the same, right? And all these companies are different, do we actually have freedom? Because the logo is different.
But it's the same people.
But it's the same people. So what's the difference? So people buy into this bullshit. They do the same thing with Coca-Cola products. They do the same thing with Pepsi products, which is what? They think that they have choice, but they don't, because at the end of the day, it's just the same thing packaged in a different format.
Because, yeah, I think it's like 90% of the biggest brands are owned by like 12 companies or something.
Yeah, I mean, just look at how much Nestle owns. Just pull up a chart right now. Go
they
on
own
Google.
Like all the food products.
Yeah, all the food products. Just type Nestle food products. Then go on Amazon. Amazon products or Amazon companies owned. Amazon doesn't just own the website Amazon.com. They own IMDb, which has the ranking of all the movies. So now that they can rank all of their movies, they have Amazon AWS. So they run all the servers. They had I think $500 million contract with the CIA to be running the servers for the CIA. So now you have a private company that hosts the private information of the American people. Like, bro, shit's crazy out here, dude. And it's like, it's not just one isolated case. It happens at all times in all places. So the entire premise of this conversation is like, okay, so now I know this shit. What about it? It's just be alert. Be alert that the things that are happening around you aren't just chance. They're cause and effect. They're caused by people. And you need to understand these things so that you can position yourself in a way to take advantage of it.
And talking about taking advantage, obviously, I want to get onto you for a bit. obviously after the whole dropshipping stuff, you got into a lot of projects, you got into NFTs, you got into crypto. How did that come about? Because you made a lot of money fast. So when did you get into NFTs and crypto, and how much did you make dropshipping actually?
So dropshipping we generated between 12 and 16. It depends because we had some logistics issues and we had some supply chain management. So I say between 12 to 16.
12 to 16 million dollars.
Yeah. So 12 to 16 million dollars. And then what we did is we just rolled over all of our profits, literally all of our profits into crypto between March to October of the year 2020. March was the collapse, the Black Swan event. I was in Florida playing Call of Duty with my brothers. Literally, bro, I just remember like it was yesterday. Market tanks super heavy on the announcement of COVID and shutdowns. That was the announcement, right? That was the Black Swan event. And I remember on my Kraken account, just the orders getting filled. $10,000 order blocks of Ethereum at $80, right? $90.
Oh, so you're buying it cheap?
Cheap, brother. Like cheap. So that just $1,000 of ETH, right? That shit did a 40x.
You're buying ETH at $80.
Yes. And I have it on my stories. Like you go to highlights, Luke Belmar, like I literally posted on my Instagram, guys, go buy crypto. It's the Chinese year of the bull, like just stuff. And I just tell people like, the bull run was coming.
So you made, how old were you when you made $12 million?
Mid-20s or 23, 24.
23,
25, but not Luke Belmar. There's a company, there's a group of people. It's not just an individual that's out here just by himself. You know,
this was like you and like your brothers
my company. Yeah, my company. So it's not just, oh, Luke's out here making
how much money did you make?
I'm not going to say the exact number that I rolled because we operate as a fund. We operate as a company. Okay. So Luke doesn't operate as an individual entity. Luke operates through companies. Luke operates through holding companies, just like a normal investment firm, right? So when I say we, people think, a lot of people are like, what does he mean when he says we? Because I say we. I talk about my partners, I talk about my fund, I talk about my investment arms, I talk about my private equity, my family office. It's not just Luke by himself out here making all the decisions. I have a lot of smart people around me, whether it's in crypto investments, whether it's in DeFi protocol, yield farming, whatever it may be, there's always intelligent people and decision makers in my organization. I'm not out here running solo, bro. That's not how I work. Thing. Yeah, 100%.
All right, so you make $15 million. You make $12 to $16 million.
We roll everything over 2020 into crypto.
Whose decision was this?
Me. 100% mine. 2019 was what's called the DeFi summer, right? In 2019, Uniswap rolls out. It's an entire craze, but it only lasts a couple months because we were still in a bear market. But remember when Clubhouse rolled out? Do you remember Clubhouse?
Yeah.
Okay, it was like the hottest thing for like a couple months.
It just died off after.
All the crypto guys went on Clubhouse and they were just like talking about the crypto bull run, blah, blah, blah. CZ, who's the founder of Binance, he goes on and he starts talking about DeFi and how he's excited for DeFi. And he mentioned something called the Binance Smart Chain, which is his chain that's going to compete with the Ethereum chain. Why? Because they had a token called BNB. BNB was their exchange token. They needed to create liquidity and value outside of the exchange for the token in order to grow.
Yeah.
Right. So I buy the BNB token at $2 in 2017. That shit goes to like 600.
So how much money did you put? You took $15 million straight into crypto.
The profits of $15 million.
Okay, profits of $15 million.
All of it.
Straight to crypto.
Brother, when I tell you that we were literally sitting on like 40, 50, 60 grand in the bank account, I tell you every dollar was in crypto or Pokemon cards. I promise you.
Pokemon cards.
Yeah, bro. Really good investment. That was the investment vehicles. That's what I wish I would have gotten into watches early. That's the only one that I like.
Yeah.
Like I'm not very happy about, but anyway, it was good. So anyways, back to Clubhouse. CZ.
Yeah.
Starts talking about DeFi and he mentions a company out of, I forget where they're talking, I think Turkey or something like that, called PancakeSwap, the PancakeSwap team. I'm like, okay, let me start looking into it. Dude, when I tell you YouTube, there wasn't a single video on PancakeSwap, nothing. I'm like, what is this thing? And I start evaluating it and realize, oh, it's basically a clone of Uniswap that was for Ethereum, but it's on the Binance Smart Chain. So theoretically, it made sense. This guy who runs crypto, right, he's not going to allow some other dude, some other smart chain, some other token to get rich when the dude can literally clone a smart chain, run all his liquidity through it, and pump these tokens himself. So at a $25 million market cap, I buy 1% supply of PancakeSwap. It ends up doing over 100x. So 1% supply was $250,000, $250,000. That was a $25 million market cap. So that's had a $25 million valuation, right? And the APY of the yield at the time, I know this is getting a little bit nerdy, was 14,000%. So you know how people were doing, oh, there's 100% yield, 200% yield. This was so degenerate back in the day, like nobody was even plugged in on it, that it was 14,000%. So I own 1% of all circulating supply when it was 25 million, and I ride it. Of course, I sell on my way up to $2.6 billion, which was the peak. You know, when Safe Moon did all that crazy shit and everybody was launching shit coins here and there. Boom, that's when we cashed out.
And how did, because you said you made money in crypto, but you also lost it all.
I lost a ton of money in crypto. But I didn't lose it all. I lost all of my money in 2017. 2017 was my first bull run.
This was after this whole...
Oh, no. So what I just told you right now, that was 2020. What I told you before was 2017.
So
I'll give you the examples of 2017. 2017, Cardano, you probably heard of it.
Yeah.
But Cardano had just launched. Tron had just launched. What was another one that was really, really hot? I think it was called Verge. Anyways, these were super, super hot tokens. I remember buying Cardano at a penny, right? And it went to $1.60. That was 160x. So for every $1,000 you put in, I think it did it in like 2 weeks or 3 weeks. For every $1,000 that you put in, it was like 150,000 out at the peak. Like it was fucking crazy. So we caught the bull run kind of late. We caught it as soon as it was taking off, but we were completely new to the entire thing. So what we wanted to do was figure out the market cycle, the hype, and get out. And I sold all of my Bitcoin at 55,000, all of my Ethereum at 3,950. We had a pretty good bull run. Yeah, but then I fucked up, lost some money with Celsius, lost some money with FTX. And
oh, you were in FTX and stuff.
Yeah, but it wasn't too bad. It was like 180K.
So how much money would you say the crypto scene made you?
8 figures. 8 figures deep, bro. 8 figures
solid
deep.
8 figures.
But here's the thing. It wasn't enough, bro. Like I fucked up. Like I left a lot of money on the table. Can I tell you why?
Why?
Because I was a player in the game as opposed to like somebody that was creating products and making valuable things. And that's where I realized how I'm going to position myself for this next bull run is I want to create products of value. Like, why can't somebody go out and create an exchange that actually doesn't steal customers' funds? You know what I mean? Like, why can't somebody make a good product like that? So now it's what we've been talking about. The entire product thing is like, we did this side of the game, but now I want to get into the game where we're actually providing value and creating real tangible things in spaces where we can create products better than anybody else.
You also, but talking about that, you also made an NFT, or you bought an NFT project?
Yeah, we bought, have you heard of Pudgy Penguins?
Yeah, this is a top 10 NFT project.
To me, it's number one, bro. To me, it's in my heart. But top 10, yes. Top 10.
How much money did that project make you?
Well, no, it's the investment is like in. So I can't disclose, but we purchased the company for 2.5 million.
Yeah.
And the number that I disclosed is private, but at a multiple already. Yeah, it's been 12 months and it's been a great vehicle.
Now, obviously, you talk about a lot of business stuff, and I think people just like to know, what's the most money you've ever made in a day?
Like $3 million trading.
One day,
brother.
And right now,
but I lost like 3.2 million also in 1 week.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how do you deal with that? Because obviously that's a lot of money to lose.
But no, bro, because it's not. If you want to make big trades, you have to be willing to take big losses. Like you're never going to do $1 million trade unless you're able to risk the liquidity to do a big trade. The problem is people are making too many trades without enough certainty, looking for quick bucks. In the last 12 months, I think I've taken 11 trades.
That's it.
In the last 12 months.
So you play the long game.
Super long game. It's a few very big sizable bets. Like I'm going to buy 1% of this token. And if it goes, it goes. And it rips, perfect. And if it doesn't rip, okay, I lose 50% on that investment. Like I'll lose 150 grand. Dude, the amount of times I'll just lose 150 grand here, 150 grand here. Like it's completely fine because I understand it's a game of probabilities.
Yeah. And what was your biggest regret? Is there anything you regret not getting into?
I regret selling my Bored Apes too early. I sold those quite early. I probably regret not getting into watches early enough.
Yeah.
I was well positioned for that. And I think my big probably L when it comes to investing was I should have shorted Luna bigger than I actually did. So Luna was a short that I made publicly on the internet. It was when Luna was a massive hype, and there was the Anchor protocol, which was giving 20% yield, and people were going super crazy with the UST coin. You probably remember
it's unsustainable
the
to give that much.
Extremely unsustainable. And the basket of assets that they were utilizing was a basket of assets that included Bitcoin, Ethereum, things of this nature. So I was like, their stability is dependent on something that's unstable. It's not going to work. I put a $50,000 short and ended up doing, I think it was like $2.6 million, I think, in 5 days.
Wow.
That's when it went to zero. But my size, the conviction of my bet should have been a lot fucking bigger. And my issue is I sold when it was at a couple dollars left before it went to zero. Those couple dollars to zero would have made that 2.5 million 60.
$60 million.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be doing internet shit today.
You'd just be banking. But obviously, you made a lot of money. And I want to say that right now, is money important to you?
Brother, money hasn't been important to me since I had 80 grand in the bank. Because I looked at 80 grand in the bank and I looked at how much I was spending. I said, okay, I have 6 months of expenses. Yeah. And I was like, that's enough for me to turn my life around. So ever since I had 80 grand in the bank account, mentally nothing's changed except I need to become better. I need to become better. I need to become better.
And how do you do that? Someone watching this, how does a kid watching this, how do they get better? What do they do? Step one, is it money? Is it?
It's brother, it's your mind. It's like, how do you think about yourself?
Yeah.
Right? When you go and you eat McDonald's, do you eat McDonald's understanding that the reason you're eating McDonald's is because you've been conditioned to eat McDonald's like a peasant? Or do you understand and have enough self-worth, right, to be like, I'm not going to fill my body with shit? So what I've come to realize is a lot of people are forcing themselves to do good things. They're forcing themselves to get educated. They're forcing themselves to train. They're forcing themselves to go out and have conversations with people, or enjoy the sunlight, or exercise, or have a healthy routine, instead of becoming the type of individual that enjoys those things. And the way that you become the individual that actually enjoys these things that are healthy is by realizing that all of these things will lead you to making more money, that all these things will lead you to finding better relationships, to being more happy, to being a better rounded individual. So instead of forcing yourself to get educated, instead of forcing yourself to eat healthy, ask yourself, why is it that I don't enjoy these things?
Yeah.
And answering that question is the most important thing, because you need to address that. Like, you not exercising is like, what the fuck's wrong with you?
You're the problem.
Yeah. Like, what is wrong with you here that is telling you, nah?
Yeah. Why am I not doing it?
And that's the question, is because if not, you're going to be the guy that's always fighting against your mind. You want your mind to be on your side.
I heard
but
you say
need
this.
To train it.
You were saying that if you're not successful, you are the problem.
100%.
If you're a failure, you're the problem. So do you stick by that? Like, that's a...
I mean, the life that you have is the life that you chose.
That's deep. It is.
Like, you are today here right now, brother, because you said, I want to be here.
There's no other person that can do it.
Nobody. But the problem, you know what it is people are afraid of assuming responsibility for their actions. Successful people will tell you that they're self-made. Unsuccessful people won't. But they're both self-made.
You're right. People that fail because of themselves. Now, talking about that, you have a lot of great relationships with people, and one of them being Andrew Tate. Now, he recently got released, obviously. What do you think about that whole situation and what it says about the world we're in? Because obviously, guys, Andrew Tate, I know him, Luke knows him. The whole situation was kind of crazy. But just getting onto the whole, how life works. Any comments you want to make about that situation?
More dangerous than the philosophical, cultural change and an ideology is teaching people how to think. Andrew and Tristan Tate aren't creating a cult. They are presenting real scenarios with real life consequences that are making people think about the actions of their life. And when you make people think, it's extremely dangerous. So I think that they were conned and they got put in there unfairly. So yeah, it's kind of screwed up situation.
And is this like it's dangerous for like governments, or
It's dangerous. It's dangerous because you need to be running a narrative in order for the world to flow. And if anybody is disrupting your narrative, you can't have that.
Yeah.
Remember, you're not talking about somebody that gets 50 million views. You're talking about somebody that gets billions and billions of views every single month consistently. So,
and he's changing the way people think.
He's not changing how people think. That's the big fallacy in this entire scenario. He's making people think. Most people don't think. What is happening right now is a trigger of conversation, of reality check. It's like, okay, this is the narrative, but here is another narrative that just has been introduced that you guys have not been exposed to. Let's see what it says. And a lot of people have been gravitating to this narrative, and this dominant narrative is opposed to this narrative, so therefore it attacks it. It's War 101.
And you think that's like the whole matrix system, breaking the matrix, and that to do that, is it step one to get out the matrix is just think?
I mean, yeah, you have to use your head. You have to be able to pick up like I told you today, we were talking about the Great Wall of China and the discoveries and thoughts that I had when I was walking through the Wall of China.
I'll say that story. So Luke was recently in China, I guess, and you were at the Great Wall of China.
2019, yeah.
All right, 2019. And you said sometimes you have to use your own brain. So you're at the Great Wall of China and you realize that this wall, instead of it facing opposing to China, it was actually facing China.
Correct. So the defense mechanisms, instead of it being facing outside of China, which you're supposed to be guarding China, it was actually facing China as if China was attacking. And then you start doing some research and you start realizing that there was empires throughout those areas prior to the Chinese Empire that were known for their constructions and their buildings. And there's a potential theory as to the Great Wall of China actually belonging to ancient civilizations prior to that. But unless I had been there walking and been like, why is this pointing in the wrong direction?
Yeah,
I would have never actually gone out and evaluated that. So yeah, picking up your head, thinking and asking yourself, why do things work the way that they work?
and why is that?
Brother, people want to be told what to do. People love to be told what to do. You know why? Because when they're told what to do, they can no longer assume responsibility for the outcome. They'll be like, well, he told me what to do. It's his fault.
Yeah.
It's his fault. But when you have to assume responsibility for your thinking process, for your belief system, when something fails, you can't point at anybody except yourself. So people like to assume the thoughts and the systems and the beliefs of other people, because if those systems and thoughts and beliefs don't pan out, they can blame.
And you think that's like a problem, like we're in this whole, like, it's a system we put in schools. We got fear. We don't want to take accountability. Real world, same thing, right? It's just a problem ground up.
Yeah, it's from the beginning all the way to the top.
Talking about that, recently, AI started to take over. You've seen it. I'm sure you've used it. Where do you think the world is going with AI? Because AI is scary.
AI is scary simply because it is already more capable than us in almost any way. It is kind of unbelievable to think. I was hiring some lawyers recently to evaluate a business proposal that I had of a structure that I wanted to create, and I wanted to figure out, is it plausible, right? Is this structure mechanism legit? Is it legal? Can I run it? And I hired 4 different lawyers, $5,000 each, 3-4 weeks of research. Each of them gave me a different conclusion about the same thing.
Yeah.
I asked ChatGPT, built it out, explained to it what I needed. fed it all 3 resources, told me all 3 resources were wrong. So then I go to a 4th guy that evaluates it. The guy was $50,000, like super high tier guy. Said exactly what ChatGPT said. These are wrong for these reasons. This is the outcome. This is the conclusion. He's like, yeah, this is pretty accurate. Who wrote this? And I said, the robot. And he was shook.
The robot saved you $50,000.
Well, no, I paid the $15,000.
It could have saved it.
But it validated what the guy that charged $50,000 was saying. He's like, yeah, the other guys, no, that
was all rubbish.
This is wrong for this reason. This is wrong for this reason. You should be aware of this law. So imagine this in its infancy right now, how it's going to be in 20, 30 years when it's ultra developed. It's going to be unbelievable. So the people that are studying school right now for what, engineering? Yeah. I met a kid. He was sitting next to me in the mountains in Zermatt when we were snowboarding. And he's like, yeah, I got a 4.2 GPA in high school, like super proud of his degree, like high scores. He's like, I'm about to go to one of these private universities and study engineering. And I'm like, okay, perfect. By the time you get done engineering, you get all your degrees, you're set. It's 8 years from now.
Yeah.
Will artificial intelligence replace your ability to be an engineer in 8 years? And he got mad, right? He got mad because I presented a plausible scenario as to why his career path was maybe not the best one. Maybe he should become a machine learning specialist or an engineer that understands how to utilize artificial intelligence to leverage their own things. But the problem is the school system right now is still so unadapted to what is going to take place in the future that people are going to be left behind. And I don't think a lot of the working class is going to be left behind. And what I mean by the working class is like the people that build factories and the farmers. I think these jobs are going to take a little bit longer to replace because you not only need software, you also need hardware in order to, make machines move.
But at what point?
But with simple skills like, dude, like being an accountant or a lawyer or these things, a machine can learn that. You can program artificial intelligence and you can have your own scripts that could literally study all the tax codes and build for you a proper plan just as good as any person that went and studied a degree. Now imagine matching the top lawyer with the artificial intelligence systems. Like, you are in a really good situation. But what happens with the people that have no skills? That's the big question here. Is like, how do you deal with 2 billion people that you don't need in the task force? That's the big question. So that's the scary part, is because you're going to have a lot of people here walking around not doing anything. So we're going to have 2 scenarios: the utopian possibility and the dystopian possibility.
What's that?
Which one would you like to know first, dystopian or utopian?
I go utopian. I've never heard this.
Okay. Of course not, brother. You're getting original data sets with Luke Belmar. What do you think? My stuff is regurgitated. Come on. Anyways, utopian scenario, AI. We go into a Renaissance era where we begin to focus on skills like art, music, poetry, self-development, because we allow the artificial intelligence to do all the hard tasks that require skills like mathematics and engineering and science, things like that. We allow, the machine to operate that side. So we go into a Renaissance. That's the utopian scenario. If everything goes well, we enter a Da Vinci style era, right?
Okay.
The dystopian scenario is we don't adopt a lifestyle that is more soft skill based, and artificial intelligence replaces our hard skills and our ability to work. And we go into dystopian outcome where people and society breaks down.
Now, Dustin, do you think right now they should stop AI?
Brother, you can't stop it. You can't stop it, brother.
Why?
Who's going to stop it?
Governments.
What government? The governments have been running AI for 20 years, brother.
Yeah.
When you look at BlackRock and you realize that they have a software called Aladdin, there's machine learning and AI that's out here calculating the algorithms and the investment patterns of the entire world dude, the entire financial ecosystem is already run on bots and automation and scripts. It's not even run on people anymore, dude.
Yeah.
So imagine in 30 years when AI runs the market. It already runs the markets. In 20 years, well, what is Wall Street going to be, brother?
It's just going to be...
The machines against each other, just pumping to see who scams who in what way and who finesses what in what way. Like, dude, it's about to get crazy out here. And that's just the reality of the situation. I don't know what to do about it, dude, honestly. Now what they're trying to do is introduce artificial intelligence rights. Have you seen that one?
No.
So if an artificial intelligence machine believes that it's human, is it actually human? And does it have human rights?
That's so stupid. So you're telling me artificial intelligence are going to have rights?
So now there's people that are advocating for artificial intelligence rights, whereby if the machine becomes sentient and says, hey, I think that I'm human, therefore these people believe that now these machines have human rights, and that if you unplug them when they say, I am human and I do not want to be unplugged, it's murder. So think about how insane. Brother.
That's stupid.
Dude, why do you think these movies...
But doesn't a human write that script?
No. Do you think these movies are not real? Just wait till the first church of AI comes out where they worship the machine. Mark my words. Play this back in 20 years when it's here.
Luke was right.
It's coming,
It's taking over.
Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you worship the machine? If you don't worship the machine, it f***s you.
And the machine is smarter. So every single thing you tell it, it knows a better answer than a human.
There you go. So why wouldn't you count on it? Perfect. Read the Bible, read the Quran, read the Torah, read all these scriptures. Give me the best advice.
The machine knows better than you. It knows every single verse of every book.
There you go. So why? Like I see it coming, dude, and it's gonna be crazy. I'm glad that we are probably gonna be dead by the time that this thing goes into full effect.
You think AI is gonna kill us?
I don't know, bro. But we're gonna kill ourselves, bro. We made the AI. Yeah, we're 100% gonna kill ourselves, bro. We're a bunch of pieces of shit.
Religion in itself, right now, is it something that are you religious?
No, not at all. I think religion is a man-made construct boxing the experiences that people have with regards to God and limiting everybody else's experiences to what they believe God is limited to. So I think that there's a lot of truth and principles that can be applied and extracted and extrapolated. But if God could speak to all these other people, why can't he speak to me?
But do you think, so you think religion is something that like kind of got like taken over by mankind?
100%. I mean, it was constructed by mankind. I mean, just look in Christianity when they study theology. What is theology? Theo means God. Ology, the study of, right? So theology, the study of God. So in Christian ecosystems, they have what is called systematic theology. So they systemize the study of God. So they tell you that this is the way that you should study God.
Yeah.
And Matt, like how, and in what way, shape, or form can you develop autonomous thoughts if everything is being filtered through other people's opinions?
But my thing is like, okay, do you believe in a higher power right now?
Absolutely. I mean, it makes sense. We live in a constructed ecosystem, 100%. And in a constructed ecosystem, it only makes sense that it was created by somebody.
What do you think? What do you think as Luke Belmar? What happens when we die?
I have my theories, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah, what are your theories? What do you think happens?
So my theories is that my main theory right now is that this current reality operates as a testing ground for the next life. So many ancient texts agree and have the same understanding that this world operates as a pit stop, that it's not the end all be all. And I tend to agree with it. I think that this testing ground and the actions that you do and the lifestyle and patterns that you implement will have a impact on what happens after this three-dimensional experience. Now, let me explain what I mean by a three-dimensional experience and what do I mean by this life and afterlife. I actually believe that they are not separated, but that they are connected. The only reason you experience reality in this way right now is because you are perceiving reality through a three-dimensional lens.
Yeah.
That's the only reason you're
You
experiencing
think we're in like
reality
a
this way.
simulation right now?
Well, not a simulation. Right now, you're limited. Your perception is limited to the three-dimensional field. So I believe that there's different fields of reality. There's different dimensions of reality, but there's only certain dimensions that you can tap into while you are in this physical state.
Because my thing is, what is the point of being alive on this earth right now? Are we just trying to make money? What are we trying to do? Because like, you know, like obviously you work hard, you do things, but what's the point of it all? Even if we die with 100 billion, we're gonna die.
I think that's the journey. And I think having the ability to ask that question and explore that question is a really good place to be at, because most people will never even get to that place where they can question, let alone explore.
Why?
Because they're stuck in their ways. One, two, they are too busy, the busyness of life, to worry about the important things. Think about how many people spend their entire fucking life 1 hour going to work, commuting, spending 8 hours at work, having somebody tell them when they can eat and when they can piss. Take that same car, go back home for 40 fucking years to make a currency, right? Earn a currency that they do not know is printed out of thin air for 40 years and never question it once.
So you're saying this, right? About how people just work, die, work, die, work, die. It's the same cycle, right? But what's the difference between what we're doing? How do you, like right now, what is happiness for you?
I mean, I don't think I live for happiness. That's the whole point, is that I think happiness is just one emotion. I think I am here to experience life.
Yeah.
Right? So the good things, the bad things, the nice things, the hard things, the things that scare me, the things that get me excited, the culmination and the combination of all these experiences and all these emotions are what constitute a good life.
Yeah.
To say that I want to only have happiness means that what? I do not want to be unhappy, or I do not want the pain. But you cannot have happiness, right?
Yeah.
Without sadness, right? Because what is happiness? The absence of sadness.
Yeah.
So just like what is light? The absence of darkness. So you need one with the other, and you can't have one without the other. So my entire purpose of life is, how do I get to experience this life? Because through my experiences, I will unlock data sets as to how the world works.
Yeah.
And therefore allow myself to understand in a better way what life is about. Will I get there? I don't know, but it's my thesis that I will acquire more information and it'll give me a better perspective.
Now, moving on to this, we were talking about this earlier, you know, with history repeating itself. Right now, the past couple of years, and I don't know if we can really talk about this. We might get banned for just this topic alone. I can't lie. You've seen what happened with the corona situation and money. And right now, the US dollar, what's happening there?
So over the last couple of years, the US dollar has gone on a printing spree, whereby half of the dollars that are currently in circulation were printed over the last 72 months.
That's half the dollars that have ever existed.
Yeah, and the reason that this is an issue is because the devaluation of the currency is the next step in order to make sure that the United States crumbles. The reason the United States today has such a force when it comes to their opinion and why their opinion is regarded so highly, it's not because their opinion is right or because their opinion is the best. It's because if you don't listen to what they say, what happens? They sanction your money. They sanction your ability to do commerce. They fuck you up financially. So all these countries that are now part of BRICS, that are now moving away from their dependence of the dollar, are doing it for one single reason. They do not want the weaponization of finance, right? So you have India, you have China, you have Russia, you have South Africa, now you have Saudi Arabia. They're just putting the middle finger up to America and being like, all right, you don't let us do what we want to do, fuck it, we'll compete. So now what you're seeing with the US dollar is a lot of internal wars happening, a lot of these policies that are taking place. you can imagine, you can best believe that it's a lot of foreign powers involved in the decision making to destroy America from within. And like every other nation, like any other empire, they all have seasons, right? But if you look at the Roman Empire, brother, the season in which the empire of Rome began to fall was the season when they began to print more coins with metal than with gold. Because back in the day, what they would do is they would have their gold coins and their silver coins, and that's what they would use for measurements.
Yeah.
But what would happen if there wasn't enough gold coming in circulation or not enough silver? They would dilute it with metal or iron ore.
Oh.
So they were diluting and causing what? Inflation.
And that's what's happening with the money. They're printing more and more.
Exactly. So they did the exact same thing. So as the resources became scarce, they introduced artificial inflation to what? Bring in more liquidity, but the liquidity was backed by nothing. So now the Roman Empire has these coins that are supposed to represent gold and silver, but are actually iron ore or metal. And as soon as that took place, the devaluation happened, Rome fell. So we're facing that stage. I don't know how long it goes. I don't know what that means because...
Do you think the dollar is going to crumble?
Yes and no. It's a tough conversation. It's a tough conversation because the United States is the military superpower of the world. They can bully their way to the top at any cost, and they're willing to do it. I mean, look at how they treated the entire situation with Gaddafi, right? Gaddafi wanted to introduce the gold dinar, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, his own currency, right?
And basically he wanted to create a Pan-African currency that was backed by gold, which meant that now the African countries would not have to be dependent on central banks for a currency. The United States comes in and says, hey, in the name of democracy and freedom, like, let me come in. And a few years later, that currency is not in circulation anymore. So once you start playing with the monetary supply and you start playing the finance game, it's quite the mafia. It's people are willing to cut heads for that.
Do you think this was like a planned attack from other nations?
Warfare is taking place at all times. There is a saying by Sun Tzu in The Art of War. He says, the art of war is the art of deception. He doesn't say it's the art of fighting. He says it's the art of deception. So if you want to conquer a nation, it's the easiest way to conquer a nation is without any casualties, both financial and in human capital and resource, because it's very expensive to rebuild those things. So what happens? Now you're in a situation where it's easier to deceive people from within and collapse something from within than to destroy it because it requires too many resources. What do you think people are actually going to be out here dropping nuclear bombs, dude? Like, come on, get woke. Nobody's going to be dropping nuclear bombs.
You don't think there'll be another world war?
Yes, but world wars are now played on the financial level, like sanctions.
Yeah.
They're played on the bio warfare zone.
Yeah.
They're played on the digital warfare zone. So it's no longer guns and bullets that are the only way to control the narrative of the world. We stopped the entire world with the power of social media, dude.
Yeah.
Social media spread one very single message and the world shut down for 3 years. If you didn't have social media, how could you spread that message that quickly, that viral? You can't, right? So there's a lot of mechanisms nowadays that warfare is transmitted through, whether it's food, music, right? When you would go and siege a different country and you would go and attack another country, you would want to poison two things. What? The food supply and the water supply. You don't think your food is poisoned? You don't think your water is poisoned? Go do some research.
Yeah.
It is, right? And if you don't think that there's other countries out here like the rest of civilization, always and forever, trying to take over the land of another person, then you haven't picked up a history book, dude. There's always another person trying to take over.
You think someone else is poisoning the other people's waters?
Brother, I think people would do whatever the fuck they want in order to cover their own backs, and they're willing to compromise everybody else on the way. Whether it's the water supply, whether it's the food. Like you look at the Food and Drug Association, which is the FDA, and they approve Skittles, for example, and you look at Skittles, it has an ingredient called Red 40. Red 40 is a known carcinogen. And they still push it through the food system. Why? Because if you keep your people weak and stupid, then they cannot fight. Of course. Why would you want people intelligent?
You were talking about the money thing, right? Do you not think the bigger picture I want to talk about crypto because crypto's come around. People are saying the new money is going to be crypto. I don't know. I have this crazy theory.
Tell me.
That the governments are actually trying to push crypto and they are self-collapsing. So people put their money into crypto and crypto becomes the savior of all currencies. And that way they can actually control all the money in the world.
I mean, yeah, if you look at...
I think crypto could be one of the biggest schemes there is.
I wouldn't doubt it. I think that there's a very plausible thesis for that. And I think that only being dependent on the digital world, when your access to the internet is dependent on literally the government turning on a switch or turning it off, then you might start questioning whether you want to live in the digital world as your absolute medium of transacting with people.
Because there's already countries that chip humans, I've heard.
Of course, dude.
I don't know. Is that a thing? I heard there's like a country that test ran it, like where they had chipped a couple hundred people.
Yeah.
And I feel like with crypto, if everything you have, like if your money is online and everything.
If your money's online, if your credit score is online, if your social media is connected to your identification, all they have to do is make sure, okay, did Mo just write a tweet here that goes against what our narrative? Okay, perfect. Freeze his money. Okay, Mo's traveling too much. He traveled more than 6 times this year. Make sure his money's only programmed to be able to be spent in Dubai. Click. You don't think that's coming? That's coming very fucking soon. So I think you have a good thesis there, brother, that crypto is the Trojan horse of false freedom. This idea of cash, being bad.
Yeah.
Cash is the only way that you can maintain and move yourself in a way that is untraced. So the blockchain is traceable. The blockchain is transparent. There's nothing wrong with the blockchain, but if you're dependent on an internet connection in order to transact, the moment that internet connection is cut off, you're fucked, and you can't be always dependent on it. So I think you have a good reason.
But what do you do? What is freedom right now? If they're controlling everything, how do you escape? How do you escape the matrix?
Freedom is skill set, brother. Freedom is skill sets. It doesn't matter what currency, Mo. It doesn't matter what currency exists. You and I are going to be rich either way. Why? Because we're skilled. It doesn't matter what currency exists. Dude, if we get fucked, everybody else is getting fucked too, bro. Like, it's just the name of the game. But you've developed skills and I've developed skills that if stuff has to hit from the beginning and you have to start again, you, in 3-4 months, you're already worth 6 figures again.
Yeah. Do you think
you know what I mean? In 12 months, you're already a millionaire again. So the whole point is, how do you escape the bullshit is become so skilled that you can ride the waves of time without being encumbered by the changing of things, because you're so skilled that you can evolve with things and not be worried about your money. If your skill set is identified, right, and your identity is attached to the money, when the money's no longer there, then you're nothing.
Yeah.
If all you have is money, then the money, the moment it's worth nothing, means you're worth nothing. So you need to be able to be worth something beyond money. And the only thing that you can be worth is 3 things. Based on skill, based on reputation, and based on the delivery of the skill. So how do people perceive you? How good are you at what you do?
Yeah.
And are you the best at what you do? If you can cover all those 3 bases, you're irreplaceable.
Right now, though, is money one of the things that you want to help you get to your next goals? Or you don't?
I mean, you live in a financial planet, right? So as you live in a financial planet, you are, by definition, bound to the rules of the game. So yeah, in this game, you need money.
How much money do you need?
I would say a comfortable place for people to be in order to live a good lifestyle that would be considered top tier. I would say $5,000 for rent. And I'm talking about Western countries. I'm not talking about Southeast Asia where you can live for $2,000 or I'm talking about the average. I would say $5,000 for living expenses, $3,000 for personal expenses, $2,000 miscellaneous, $5,000 in savings, or in investments. If you make $220,000 a year as a baseline goal, that's a good place to say, I have enough money to begin focusing on developing myself and not have to worry about the next bill and not have to worry about, can I actually take my girl on a dinner date that's nice? Or can I book a little vacation retreat? I think 220,000, 250,000 is a good baseline whereby it's not so much money that the money begins to become a business. You don't want to get to the point, at least me, I'm at the point where I have a family office that managing my money is like a job in and of itself. I don't want to get so big that people treat me, Luke Belmar, as I need to run Luke Belmar's life. There's a sweet medium in between having a lot and not having anything. And that sweet medium is where you have enough to live extremely well, to do whatever you want, but not so much that your mindset is always like, how do I protect this? What do I do with this money? How do I move this? Dude, you don't see people with tens of millions of dollars in a bank account. That doesn't exist. That's not real. People have treasury bonds. People buy back debt. People buy stock. People buy equity in companies. This idea of sitting in a bank account with 30, 40, $50 million
cash
is ludicrous.
But how much money is it? Like, how much money do you want to have? Are you aiming for like...
My goal is by the age of 35 is 250 million liquid cash. I don't evaluate my assets. I don't calculate.
Do you want to be a
worth.
billionaire?
Yes and no. I mean, billionaire is such a whatever terminology.
You don't care.
I mean, I think if you're a billionaire, you don't really care if you're a billionaire. I mean, I honestly don't think you get to the point where you look at all your assets, you're like, today I'm a billionaire. I think it's such a fluctuating
you don't know what the value is.
At that point, you don't even care. I can't even give you an estimate of what I'm worth today. Like, truly, today I'm worth this. Tomorrow the market pumps 10%, I'm worth that. Tomorrow the market dumps 20%, I'm worth something. I don't care. I just know what is my purchasing power. Like, how much is my life is taken care of.
Have you ever been robbed for money?
No.
Scammed?
Oh, I've been scammed. Yeah. But scammed is different than robbed. Scam is when you fall for something as opposed to something like
and when did that happen? I just want to know.
I've been scammed multiple times, bro. I've probably lost $250,000, $300,000-$400,000 in scams with crypto.
You bought into crypto scams? Yeah,
I bought into crypto scams. I mean, I would call FTX a scam, right? I would call Celsius a scam. I lost money on those.
Yeah,
a lot of money.
On a personal level, has anyone ever taken money from you?
No, thankfully, no.
Now, how do you find happiness? And do you think depression is real?
I love these questions. I don't know if depression is real. I know that there is a clinical depression, but I think that most people describe their state of unhappiness and their state of spiritual or mental unrest as depression when it could be so many other things.
Yeah.
But people aren't willing to do the research. They automatically just blanket it as, this is who I am, this is what I have. And therefore that's what you have, right?
Yeah.
So I think people need to be a little bit more introspective and potentially analyze that how they feel is not defined in one word, and potentially it's in a spectrum of feelings. How do you achieve happiness? Well, happiness from a metaphysical perspective, in my opinion, is achieving a state of balance in your life. So once you achieve a state of balance is when every area of your life is in tune and in harmony.
Yeah.
You know, potentially the best time in your life wasn't when you were growing the most, wasn't potentially when everything in business was great. It was probably when everything was doing well and everything was in tune and your family was taken care of and your relationship with these people were good. And you were making money and your channels were growing, but everything was in accordance. You don't want to be the guy where this area of your life is crushing and then everything else is falling apart. That's not happiness. That's not living life great. So I think achieving a life where you can achieve a consistent state of happiness from a metaphysical perspective is achieving a life of balance. From a physical perspective is knowing that there's things that you can do on a regular basis in your life to increase your chances of happiness. You can eat better foods, therefore increasing the levels of serotonin in your gut. Serotonin known as the happy chemical. It dictates the chemical balance in your brain. A lot of people have unhealthy eating habits or unhealthy sleeping patterns. That affects your ability to be happy. But if you can have a healthy gut because of the foods that you ingest, now you have what? A healthier mind. So people need to start not only training the metaphysical, but also the physical. If you exercise, you're going to reduce your stress. If you eat healthy, you're going to increase your ability to produce high quality serotonin. That's going to make you a more balanced individual on the biochemical level. Go sit 15 minutes in the sun, get some vitamin D, right? Be in a situation where you can control your melatonin levels and now control your sleep cycles. So how do you acquire happiness? By establishing the small little habits in your life and the small little patterns in your life that are going to allow you to live a better life. And when you live a better life, you live a happier life.
I ask you a question because you're in the scene of making money right now, 2023. What would you say like the top money making methods are?
You need to be online. And the reason you want to be online in order to make money is because the barrier to entry and the opportunity in the playing field is really diverse. Yes, I made my money in one avenue, e-commerce. It's very broad. Yeah, I made my money in crypto. It's one avenue. Yeah, very broad. But there's so many other ways that you can make money. I know a guy on, I forget. It's the Alibaba version, but in China. I think it's called 1688. Yeah. And it's a guy that makes $6 million a year selling shrimp.
Shrimps.
He sells the shrimp bait.
Yeah.
So he has a shrimp farm and he sells to other Chinese suppliers $6 million every single year worth of shrimp. But he's a multi-millionaire selling shrimp. So
is this dropship? What is that?
Yeah, he just has a store online. And 1688, it's like a Chinese supplier website. Yeah. He has a farm of shrimp and people literally order shrimp and he ships it to them. But he utilized the online platform as a mechanism to acquire new customers. Why? Because all the internet is the same thing as the physical world, but digitalized. Yeah. So let me give you a perspective. If you were in the real world and you wanted to go buy a pair of sweatpants and then you wanted to mail those sweatpants, you would have to go to H&M, swipe your card, then go to FedEx, swipe your card and ship the package. Yeah. Online, you just go to H&M.com, click order, insert your card, which could already be pre-typed on your phone, click to enter, insert the address, and that package gets shipped to the house. So all human interaction that is taking place in the real world is minimized in friction in the digital world. That's why I love the digital world. It's not because it's better or worse. It's because I've been able to reduce the friction between me and customers and my ability to make money. Therefore, I choose it above the physical world.
But now,
what is the biggest opportunity? I'm giving that as a premise for people to understand that why the internet.
Yeah, why the internet?
The internet, why low resistance and low friction.
But what's right now top 3 money making methods?
Top 3 money making opportunities right now. I'll give you one on each niche. I'll give you one. There's 3 places you can make money: physical products, digital products, and services. So you need to figure out digital products. What is a digital product? Something that I can offer that'll allow me to get paid digitally where I don't have to create or have inventory or physical product. It can be like what you do, content creation, building a personal brand. It can be like somebody that has a course, right? Yeah. You could sell a course. Your course can be on anything. You could be a car mechanic and sell a course on how to fix cars. Yeah. It's not limited or bound by one specific niche like e-commerce, which is the traditional perspective. So you can have info products. Then you can have your physical products. That would be like your direct to consumer. If you want to sell a hoodie, if you want to sell a glass cleaner, whatever it may be, those are your physical products. The best way to sell physical products, which I think is a great opportunity today, is user-generated content through high distribution platforms like TikTok, like now YouTube Shorts or Instagram Reels. These platforms are competing by giving away free attention. So people can build multi-million follower brands off of user-generated content that the algorithm can push organically. So without having any ad spend introduced into your product, you can test, right, your audience and make sure that there's a product market fit before you venture into this product, and you can sell that. That's on the physical side. So you have digital products, which I explained. You can do info products or build a personal brand. You have your digital direct-to-consumer products and then you have your services. What are services? Services are where you expend your life force energy in return for money. So you could start a laundry service, or you could start a grass cutting service where there's an actual service of labor for your time and your money. Whichever position you are in right now, you can evaluate what avenue you want to take. So my number one money making play is do stuff on the internet. Number two money making play, focus on things where you can get free traffic, like TikTok. And three, utilize artificial intelligence to minimize the amount of human labor that you need and the amount of intelligent input and output that you can receive from the artificial intelligence machine to increase your productivity. So those, I think, the three special spots.
Online, TikTok, content creation. But I heard, because obviously you're in the e-commerce space, a lot of people are saying now like e-commerce is dead, dropshipping is dead. Is that the case? Is it harder?
It's hard. Hard is such a relative word. People have been dropshipping since the dawn of man. What is to dropship? Dropship is to arbitrage a product. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Everything here is arbitraged. This couch that was paid for was arbitraged by whatever company created the process to manufacture it in the manufacturing company. There's probably a 1x markup. You received a 3x markup on it. So what type of drop shipping is dead? The scammy drop shipping is dead. Customers don't want to get scammed with Chinese products anymore. But what is to dropship? Dropship is from factory direct to consumer without touching the middleman. So it's just the business model. The business model is not going anywhere. E-commerce is not going anywhere. Amazon is not going anywhere. These businesses are here to stay. The question is, how do you compete with now super established brands that are spending a lot of money in ads? You have to become extremely creative. You need to sell products that nobody else is selling, and you need to sell them in a way that is extremely intelligent. The way that I found to build extremely intelligent products, and this is something I talked to you about, is by building communities that resonate with the products as opposed to just selling products for the sake of selling products. So I think people need to focus on building tribes and communities and nurturing them, and then building things for them that they like, and therefore creating an ecosystem where if you provide value, money returns. So you can focus on digital products, you can focus on TikTok, physical products, content creation. I mean, it's like saying, is it ever too late on YouTube? No, it's never too late. I'm a testament of it. You can come in and disrupt the space completely, but you just have to potentially do things in a different way. And it may be harder, yes, but is it impossible? No.
So talking about that, what is your next step? What is Luke Belmar doing next? I mean, what's your move?
I mean, you'll see me a lot on the internet. You'll see me hanging out with Mo Vlogs. We're going to be making more vlogs. Luke Belmar's focused on Capital Club, brother. Luke Belmar is focused right now on becoming the best version of himself. And I think that'll just manifest in the things that I'm going to be creating. So,
and talking about that, Capital Club is a private club that you have right now?
Yeah, so Capital Club is a private club that I've had since 2019. So in 2019, that's when I told you about DeFi summer and crypto. I'd just been able to make a good amount of money.
What is Capital Club?
Capital Club is a private organization of entrepreneurs from all over the world where we get together and we collaborate, we mastermind, we establish think tanks around the world designed to do three things: create, multiply, and preserve wealth and opportunity. As an entrepreneur, you have three areas in three mindset states in your career. You have creation, multiplication, and preservation. There are seasons to create money, aka businesses, empires, cash flow opportunities. Then there's these seasons for multiplication of your money, where working isn't the most ideal thing. Maybe it's investment vehicles or opportunities where you can invest your money to multiply quicker. Because if it's not always a game of addition, sometimes it's a game of multiplication. And then finally, there's a game of preservation. You know it as well as I do, brother. Look how many people multiplied their money during the last bull run and lost it all because they didn't have the ability to preserve shit. So inside Capital Club, our goal is to teach people and equip people through a network how to create wealth, multiply their wealth, and preserve wealth. But wealth, remember, it's not just money. Wealth is a lifestyle of abundance. So to me, it's, okay, is Mo's mental health in check? Yes. Okay. Then the follower counts and the money and the ad revenue, that's perfectly good now because he's chilling. He's doing well. My goal isn't for you to have one area of your life super developed and nothing else equipped. So I've developed a network that keeps people accountable, keeps people growing, meets on a yearly basis.
How many people are in your club?
7,000 right now.
7,000 people in the club.
7,000 people right now. And it's been closed for 3 years.
This is paid members?
Yes. It's been closed for 3 years. So
how much is it to enter?
I only opened, well, it's been closed. A new price is coming soon, but you can't enter it right now. So it's been closed. Ever since 2019, it opened for 2 days. I've had a 95% retention rate. So the members don't leave. The reason the members don't
7,000 people,
7,000 people
paid to get into the club.
7,000 people paid to get into the club. And then I have my elite club, which is my inner circle.
And the elite club, is that the
$10,000 to $15,000.
$15,000.
Yes.
How many people are in that club?
120.
How much money is that?
I don't know.
That's like $2 million?
I don't know, bro. A couple M's. It's not a big deal because all that money it's the money belongs to the club.
And yeah,
the money doesn't belong to Luke Belmar, right? So the money is designed to develop the club.
So you have 7,000 people on a membership and 120 elites. And how much money is in that elite club? Like, what's the net worth of the people?
We have members that have exited their companies for 30, 40, 50 million dollars. We have a couple billionaires that are inside the network.
Are they
Not mystical billionaires. They're billionaires that are well known and established. But the thing about the inner circle of Capital Club is we only disclose the members to other members in the events. At the bigger scale, it's more of a community-based perspective. But when it comes to the inner circle, it's a little bit more private.
Now, I saw that you actually deleted a lot of your content from the internet. Was this a decision that was made because of these people?
This idea that people deserve the content. No, the people that deserve the content are the ones that are there to watch it. The internet has spoiled people into believing that just because a video is on the internet that it'll always be there. If you wanted to watch a piece of valuable content 75 years ago, you either had to tune in or you missed it.
Yeah.
Right? So why can't I treat my shit the same way? It's valuable enough. Show up when I post it within 24, 48 hours. If not, you lose.
Because I heard this a lot of times. People say when something's free, people lose the value of it.
Well, they don't respect it. I mean, think about it this way, Mo. Think about you're out here producing a ton of content and people just watch it. And you actually understand that the content that you're putting out is life-changing.
Yeah.
But because you put out so much content, they don't respect it.
Yeah.
So fuck the amount of content. The goal here is to have a couple people, it doesn't have to be everybody in the world, that resonate with the message. Remember, bro, Leonidas stood against the emperor, Darius, with 300 soldiers. He didn't have 8 million, right? He had 300, but 300 of the most qualified.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking for 300. My content is created and curated to find the highest people in society. It's not designed for the numbers. It's designed for the best people, because as I build this, my objective is to find partners and to find business deals and to find people that I can bring into my inner circle and Capital Club.
You want the most exclusive people out there to meet.
It's the best of the best, brother.
Yeah. And would you ever think about, because Tate has his war room, would you ever think about doing a collaboration with him?
Yeah, bro. I would always collaborate with Tate. 100%. He's a marketing genius and a business savant.
Now, quick questions. What's your opinion on drugs? Because we were talking about this off the podcast. I don't know how much of it we can say on the podcast, but do you think drugs could be a good thing for people?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, what are drugs? Drugs are just chemical compositions put together in order to create a reaction.
Yeah.
So the question is, can you engineer these chemicals without being attached to them in order to achieve certain results? So for example, caffeine. Caffeine is a nootropic. Caffeine is a drug.
Yeah.
But people, because they feel it in some way, shape, or form as if it was a normal thing, they don't classify it as a drug. But it is. It's an enhancer. So the question is, how can I use this thing, this caffeine, this chemical composition, to thrive, as opposed to allowing it to control my life? So it can be whether it's psilocybin, whether it's THC, whether it's CBD, whether it is whatever it is you choose it to be. I don't think that there's anything inherently wrong with the chemical composition. It's more so who's using it, why they're using it, and what is the outcome of their life when they use it. The example that I like to give, and you might resonate with it, is that of a razor, right? You have a razor that you use to shave.
Yeah.
If I give it to a child, right, and he cuts his face, who's at fault? Is it the razor or is it the child? It can't be the razor because the razor is just the razor. The razor does what the razor does.
Yeah.
The problem isn't the child either because the child is just immature. But if you give that same razor to a grown man, he's going to shave normal. He's going to understand how to use it.
Yeah.
So what is the premise? Is that a good thing at the wrong time can now become a dangerous thing.
Yeah.
So it's not whether a psychoactive is good or bad. It's why am I tapping into this? What am I becoming when I tap into this? And am I dependent on this thing in order to live my life? But I think people can utilize enhancers, nootropics, things of this nature in order to find neural pathways in their psyche that they haven't been able to tap into before. So
do you think like there's some drugs that governments are holding secret that can make humans better?
100%. I mean, just look at what DMT did in the 60s and the 70s. It was a revolutionary drug, MDMA, which is also known as ecstasy. I've never taken it. But if you look at the story attached behind it, the government, made it illegal because it was causing a revolution of sorts amongst the people, and it was banned, and it was classified as a substance 1 drug, which means this is illegal, don't touch it.
But it's making people better.
I'm not saying it's making people better or worse. It's more so it's causing people to question the propaganda. Oh. And if you question, like I told you before, bro, anything that is there to question what things are gets chopped.
Now, one more question. What's your opinion on, I feel like now with the whole social media, you see a lot of people that are now gay, trans, what you identify as, he, she, they, them. What's your whole opinion on this genre of humans?
They can do whatever they want. Honestly, there's so many things to focus on myself that I have zero time to think about anything about anybody for any reason whatsoever.
Yeah.
As long as you don't affect my family directly, do as you I do not care. You know why I don't care? Because my opinion isn't going to change you. Yeah. Therefore, I don't care. Do as you please. Do as you please. And it can be whether you're a successful person, I don't care. Do as you please. Do your thing. I'm going to do my thing. Because when it's all said and done, like you said, brother, we all die. So is my opinion about somebody else, how they conduct their life, going to influence and impact and change what they do? High likelihood, the answer is no. Now, when it starts getting intense and there's certain narratives that are being pushed, there's a time and place for everything. But
right now, you don't care.
Brother, I have so many things to worry about right now. All of us should be banding together. Yeah. All of us. I don't care if you have a penis, a vagina. I don't care what you Bro, we should all be banding out together right now and figuring out how do these bankers not fuck us all? Dude, like, I don't care if you got titties, not titties. That dude, like, maybe
they're taking our money right now.
Maybe we can all get together in a room and ask ourselves, why are we all getting But we are fighting over these things. Perfect. We can fight over these things, but can we make sure that all of us have enough food?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So once we cover those topics, and once the kids in Africa and Haiti are taken care of, then I can address these first world problems. But I got some real world problems to focus on in other places. And once those are taken care of, then I'll start voicing my opinion on things that right now, there's plenty of opinions. You don't need another voice.
Is that something you're looking into, like charity and stuff? Is that something you stand for?
Dude, I think utilizing the resources that you have to make people's lives better is super important.
Do you think, honestly, it matters? Like, and the reason I say that is I feel like nowadays you see governments and big organizations do charity. isn't there enough money to already fix this issue?
Yes, 100%. That's why you realize that a lot of these organizations, these foundations, these nonprofits, they're just schemes to filter money.
They're just scamming.
They're just scamming. So it's a tough situation. That's why you need to do things yourself. You need to build your own nonprofits. You need to build your own missions and your own foundations.
Yeah.
You need to be able to manage the supply and flow of money, which goes back to what I told you in the beginning. You know, I do business with people that I trust. Therefore, if I'm going to run nonprofits, I'm going to run nonprofits with people that I trust. If I'm going to be spending millions of dollars doing things, I need to make sure that there isn't a 25% administrative fee for the United States part of the company that pays out $250,000 salaries. You know what I mean? Because that's a very real thing. So charity work is phenomenal. I'm super involved with it. I think something that I'm passionate about is sponsoring orphans.
Yeah.
It's a very important thing. There's a lot of children that need parents and
I actually
parental
want to
figures.
talk about it. Is that something you're looking into? Like, do you ever want to have a family? Do you want to have kids?
No, not right now. Not right now. I mean, now I need to figure out with artificial intelligence how we can.
Would you ever have a robot baby?
Hey, bro, do you want to? I'll have a robot baby, bro. I'll have a cyborg. I'll have a mini version of myself, a clone.
Do you think cloning is real?
100%.
Because right now, recently, if you guys saw, I'll talk about it. Donald Trump got arrested. What was your opinion on that?
I don't have any opinion. I do not follow. Bro, when I tell you, brother, I'm one of these individuals on the internet that doesn't actually spend time on the internet. So like, I don't know what's going on. I don't care. Like, I need to figure out how can I do 100 push-ups in a row?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know that sounds insane when the world's collapsing, but if the world's getting truly, bro, what can we do about it?
Nothing.
What are you going to do? Complain on Twitter about the Federal Reserve? You know what I mean? No, I need to focus on how can I get stronger, better, more developed. People are like, what is he talking about, push-ups? Push-ups is just a philosophical example of pursuing the next thing in your life to develop into a better person.
Yeah.
I'm just focused on that all day. I'm focused on like, how do I make sure my eating patterns are good? How do I make sure I don't shove my face with Twinkies? How do I make sure I understand what my rights are in this country?
Yeah.
What do you think about Johnny Depp? You know, you think I'm worried about somebody else?
Johnny Depp, his case.
Never, bro, never. So I'm just focused on me, G, leveling up, focused on my own game, focused on my own lane, and hopefully it inspires a few people along the way.
A final thing, what's your last words or of advice to people watching this? How can they escape the matrix? How can they get out of this rat race of money and unfulfillment and just same shit every day, you know?
What do you think?
What's the best advice? Just go figure it out. I think advice is useless.
There you go. You heard it.
All right, guys. That's been Luke Belmar. Thank you so much. That's the man himself. Guys, this was the most special podcast. This man right here. In 10 years, you're going to rewatch this podcast and say, oh, shit.